What's up, everybody? I was just watching a video and he showed these lithographs, and I smell something fishy here. First off, I'm not saying anything bad at all about that person if you're watching, and the Karens need to chill out. I'm allowed to see something and have my opinion about it and share it. I'm a fan of the guy's work who showed this, otherwise, I wouldn't be watching in the first place. But I think these are AI. And I've got several reasons to think this. So I thought I would show you guys the way I look at it, and then you can make up your own mind. But there are a lot of artists getting involved in this so called truth space, and I don't trust much that I can't track down a verifiable source on. And he says this came from Telegram. And once again, I'm not saying anything bad. This is just what I think on these. But he said it came up on Telegram. I really don't know about Telegram, but I doubt these have a paper trail leading back more than 2 years. And I'd love for this to be true. I'd love to tell you, see, there's the comet and electrical storm, all that. But I see this kind of stuff all the time, see the obelisk and everything's all lit up, and they're all holding hands singing Kumbaya around their big magic light stick. Because that's what we do today. We all just sit here in amazement that, oh, we have light. Let's all hold hands and sing songs around the Christmas tree. So, is that what you guys want to do? Is that how Tatarians are living? Is this really a realistic scene? But if you zoom all the way out, down in the bottom corner, it says Arch GTU. What is that? Grand Tataria University? And on Pinterest, there's a ton of stuff that's in Russian that I can't even read. But okay, we know that people are doing AI like this and this. And I'm telling you, this is AI. It's just too clean, too crisp. And I'm going to break all this down for you. So notice the lightning, and you got a lot of stones in all these, but you notice that jagged lightning. It's the same in like 4 or 5 of these. First off, all I did for 2 years straight when I first started this channel was look into this kind of stuff. And I can tell you, we do have, this is an original woodcut dated to the 1600s, and I was able to find this, 3 or 4 years ago. And it looks like the lightning was all based off of this. And I'll just tell you, anything that seems too good to be true these days, I am questioning thoroughly. But just look at the perfect proportions of everything. We're talking about some masterpiece artistry here. So the lightning being all the same would indicate that it's all coming from the same artist. And if this is in fact real, then an amazingly talented artist, which there are and have been. So first off, before lithographs, everybody used woodcuts, and I think everybody can easily see the difference in artistry here. And this is just like a woodcut sounds. You carve out the wood and roll some ink across there and you stamp it onto your piece of paper. This is all there was until 1820. And I hope everybody has noticed how everything is drawn in lines. They're a lot more coarse in woodcuts, and it's obvious you either got ink or you don't have ink. And then came the lithograph, which is still the same basic principle. You either got a line and you got ink or you don't, but you can make a much finer line with this process. This is a famous MC Escher, and good job of shading and, showing the light and shadow on the walls and everything. But when you zoom in, you see it's just a lot of really fine lines to where you either have the light color or the dark color. For a lithograph, you take a polished piece of limestone and you draw out the image with an oil-based crayon or ink. Then they put some layers of powders on there, and then a mildly acidic solution, and then you got it etched into stone. So some of it will hold the ink, some of it won't, and then you put a piece of paper on there and you can stamp them off. So just like the big coarse lines in the woodcuts, the lithograph is still just a bunch of little lines. And this is a lithograph of an older Albrecht Dürer sketch. He was one of those major Brotherhood kind of people. But you still see how it's a bunch of little lines. And I don't think I have the best resolution on this one. Here they did a really good job of shading, and I want to zoom in on the ref's hand, and you see it's a bunch of microscopic scratches going across there. And these are all like master artists we're looking at here. But your average newspaper artist is along these lines. So back to the images in question, the amount of detail is amazing. I mean, each stone has the shading for the light and shadow. I mean, it's a lot of detailed work here. But look at the camel, and let's zoom in close on him. And it looks like shading to me. I guess it could be a low res picture to where it's not showing the fine lines, but we're zoomed in pretty close. The whole image would have probably been no bigger than a newspaper, but also look at the shape of the overall picture. That's like the perfect 16:9 photo size or whatever for a thumbnail photo. If it's sized perfectly to fit a computer screen, then it's been made since the computer's been around. It wouldn't just happen to have the perfect dimensions. But this is all just too perfect. You know, you zoom in and this just looks like shading to me, and everyone is perfectly proportioned. You wouldn't see a bunch of individual stones like they're poured out of a bucket. You'd see a bunch of streaks like this real 1833 event. If they were slow moving, you could have fireballs, I guess, but look at the tower. And this looks like AI gibberish for the most part. You can't make out most of it, but right here it looks like C and the letter I and the letter A. And I highly doubt that's who made this image. It's just some artist having fun, if that is what that is. But then right here you have what looks kind of like the symbol for Jupiter. There's a couple versions of that, but right next to it looks like the symbol for Scorpio some. And then, like I said, the rest of it just looks kind of like gibberish. The overall details look pixelated to me instead of lines. And it's all just too perfect. I mean, look at how perfect those lightning bolts are. You know, just these are modern art looking, comic book looking things. That's and the cows' faces. I mean, you can see the expression of in the cows' faces. 200 years ago, no one would have put an expression of a cow in there. Just saying. Yeah, nah, these are just too perfect and too modern looking. And on this one, we do have some pretty good resolution here. I mean, to be able to see the expression on the cow's face and the woman's face clearly, and you know, you look at the shading on the wheel there, and it's shading and not a bunch of lines. One more time, here's real lithograph, and like look at the bottom of the box, you can see clearly that it's a bunch of lines. Zoom in close, right there on the face, you still see all the little lines. All through the clouds, I mean, even on his chest, the darker spots, you still see horizontal lines there. And on his thigh. Clouds, robe. I'm telling you, this is just too perfect. This is AI. The ribs on the dog, that's not a bunch of little lines. That's shading. You can see that it understands that's what a lithograph is supposed to be, as a bunch of small lines, but then it takes it down to that micro resolution. Anyway, that's just what I think, and I think whatever you want to think. I don't care. Just don't be rude to me about it. How about that? It's funny. I literally had somebody tell me that if I can show them a photograph from 10 different angles and blah, 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 then they'll believe it. But you show them 4 supposed lithographs that are obviously all done by the same artist, and that's gospel fact now because they like it. And like I said, I'd love to find out that these were actually real, but I need to know what book they come from. I need to see that. I don't have to see the book personally in print, but I need to know that it's been printed before everybody got into all of these subjects, because there's a lot of new stuff popping up, and understandably, if people are looking, but there's been a whole lot of us looking for 10 years now, and this is the first time this stuff's come up. But these are obviously copying the woodcut, which was appropriate for its time. But I've kind of seen all the pictures that I know of that exist for the 1833 Leonid shower when I've talked about it several times. Basically, millions of shooting stars were coming down. Some of them were exploding right off the ground. It was a huge event that everybody remembers. And this is the appropriate artwork for the time. And look at how they portray the people in the town. And here you've got these Rembrandt level people in, what are they all wearing robes like ancient Romans? It's just all wrong. I mean, the lithograph is less than 200 years old. And I just noticed that we got a camel, and we know it was all done by the same artist. So a camel, and then a European style stone tower that's on fire. The stone tower is on fire. And I just noticed all this. There's a lot to look at here, but okay, a medieval stone castle. Next to it looks like the Parthenon with its pillars. And then over here, you've got a pyramid. It's AI. There's just way too much wrong here. Everything is anachronistic and out of place. Anyway, I thought it was a good little learning lesson. There's always going to be people that are going to tell you what you want to hear and show you what you want to see. And I'm not saying that about the creator who just put these in their video. I'm talking about the artist. I don't feel like digging through to find it, but there's a lot of bunk stuff on Pinterest that people are passing off for real. And, you know, here's what's messed up is this kind of stuff really has happened. The Last Druid said that they built dolmens as fallout shelters from these things. But this is just all too perfect, and the lithograph's been around for 200 years, and these are people in old Roman robes and medieval towers and pyramids. This is obviously somebody that watches YouTube. And I'd just be skeptical of anything that seems too good to be true in this day and age. And I've been at this for years, so it's been a while since I've found anything shockingly new. Anyway, I'll quit droning on. Static out.